only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025, there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
This is Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. I'm Olivia Buzaglo. We've got a packed hour of sports news and plenty of talking points coming up for you as we build up the talkSPORT Breakfast at 6 a.m. With Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist. And Nick Ellaby's here with me. Nick, sorry, ice and beer, what?
I know. Well, maybe we'll get into that in the front pages.
No, yeah, we will, because I need an
Sometimes,
explanation.
Though, if it's warm, I can get that.
Why would... What, as in... The
beer's warm.
Oh, if the beer's warm, but then surely if you get a beer, why would it be warm straight away?
Well, you might have it at home.
Oh, yeah, that may be but
listen,
I don't know.
We'll dig into this. Maybe we'll get into that in the front pages. Ice in cider's all right, isn't it? But ice in beer,
no.
Not sure about that.
No. How was the wedding, by the way?
So my best friend got married in Switzerland. It was delightful.
In Switzerland?
Yeah, Geneva.
I've never been to Switzerland.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, I've heard. It's like one of the most expensive places, isn't it?
I was only there for 3 days. It really hurt. But you know, yeah, and I haven't actually come out of this weekend on top, unlike Chelsea, which seemed to have actually be £3 million in profit after this transfer deadline window.
How do we do it?
Unbelievable, crazy end to the window. We'll be asking if nice guys finished last. Mark Guehi not getting his move. Who's had the best window? We'll get into that in a minute. We'll look ahead to the Ryder Cup, and we'll also get stuck into this morning's back and front pages. As always, you can get involved on the usual number 03717 223344.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Cheers.
Nick will be back a little bit later. This is the Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. This is the Early Breakfast on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. It is the day after the night before. I'm sort of glad, I'm not going to lie. I feel like we spend so much of the summer talking about the same old things. I just feel like I've spoken about Alexander Isak every single day. And I'm so glad it's come to a conclusion finally, and we can all get on with the rest of our lives. Before we get into the back pages, which understandably are all about Alexander Isak and the transfer window, Nick mentioned it there, about the differences in behaviour of a few players that have made moves that haven't got their moves. Obviously, Alexander Isak and Johan Wissa got the moves they wanted and claimed they'd been promised, but obviously then Mark Guehi seeing his move to Liverpool fall through at the very last second. I think we're setting a dangerous precedent here. I do think the way that Alexander Isak and Yoane Wissa, their behaviour has been different. Alexander Isak said in his interview since when he joined Liverpool that, I'm excited to get back to work. And it's like, well, you should have been back to work about a month ago, mate. Like, you shouldn't... this is what is frustrating. And Yoane Wissa was different because I think he was training with the squad as well. But it's basically put clubs in a really, awkward position where they feel like they can't do anything else. And, Alexander Isak refused to play, refused to train, whatever he did. And he's got his big move to Newcastle. Yoane Wissa doing the same, getting his big move. Alexander Isak going to Liverpool and Yoane Wissa going to Newcastle. I think nice guys do finish last. I think we all know that. And it's more evident than ever here with Mark Guehi. What I would say about the Mark Guehi incident that obviously fell through at the last second is if Liverpool wanted him that badly, they could have got him earlier in the window. They knew he was available. They knew that Crystal Palace weren't asking for very much money. I mean, given how the transfer window and the prices that people go for these days. And to wait until, Liverpool have, this transfer window has been amazing for them. But I think it showed that they did need a centre-back. And, if they wanted Mark Guehi, they should have gone and got him earlier. And this is not Crystal Palace's fault, by the way. This is not Crystal Palace's fault at all. They are losing their captain. They are losing someone that's massively important to this squad. And they needed a replacement. And they didn't get that replacement, which then meant that Mark Guehi couldn't leave. I think I've seen on social media, there's a thank you that's been leaked as if he was going to go. I do feel really bad for Mark Guehi because he has been the ultimate professional. If there was ever a way to act when you might be leaving a club, when you're the captain especially, it is exactly how Mark Guehi has behaved. We saw it similarly with Ebere Eze as well. He spent 5 years at Crystal Palace and got his big move to Arsenal. But the way they've both acted, everyone should look at. And I just am so worried going forward that not bad behaviour, but, refusing to play, refusing to train, doing what Alexander Isak and Yoane Wissa did to a certain extent is going to help you get the move. And that shouldn't be the case. In an ideal world, I think Alexander Isak should have stayed at Newcastle and Yoane Wissa should have stayed at Brentford, and it would have taught them a little bit of a lesson on how to act when you do want to get a move. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think about that as well, because it has dominated the transfer window. So as you can imagine, all of the back pages are the same. Back of the Sun, Isak of cash, Cop seal £130 million Alex signing, but late Guehi move collapses a little bit here on goalkeepers as well. Lovely business for Manchester rivals. Obviously, Manchester United opting for Senna Lamans over Emi Martinez. Oh, that's a tough old window for Emi Martinez, isn't it? I wonder what's going to happen there. Obviously, left out of the squad for the Palace defeat. And of course, Gianluigi Donnarumma. We are awaiting an announcement from Manchester City, but it does look like Gianluigi Donnarumma is off to City. What a signing that is, by the way, but not necessarily the ball-playing goalkeeper that every manager seems to love these days, because we know having Edison was basically like having a 12th outfield player for Manchester City. And we've seen James Trafford especially come in this season and likes playing with the ball at his feet. I know obviously it's risky at times given the goal that they conceded against Spurs, but yeah, interesting to see what Pep does with Gianluigi Donnarumma. And back of the Guardian as well, hit and miss. Liverpool break British record to seal Isak deal, but Palace block Guehi move at the 11th hour. Listen, Mark Guehi will get his move. Mark Guehi will get his move, whether it's to Liverpool, whether it's to someone else. But interesting to hear your thoughts on that Mark Guehi situation. And are you just happy that Alexander Isak's got his move to Liverpool? What are your thoughts? Does this make Liverpool outright title? I think they're probably title favourites initially anyway, but after the transfer window they have had, surely it puts them way above everyone else. talkSPORT is your home of Transfer Deadline Day. We had Mr. Deadline Day himself, Jim White, alongside our chief football correspondent, Alex Cook, transfer correspondent, Ben Jacobs, and former Liverpool midfielder, Danny Murphy, dissecting all the deals. And here's how it went down.
Transfer Deadline Day with me, Jim White, and we are live on talkSPORT.
Ball given away to Isak. There's his goal. Alexander Isak.
Worth the wait.
Go on.
A 3-word tweet. Alexander Isak confirmed as a Liverpool player.
And another attacker, along with Nick Voltemada, is about to come in. Johan Wissa from Brentford will join. He's in Newcastle.
I mean, one stinker goes out, one stinker comes in. Well done, Newcastle. You've got one coming in doing the same thing to Brentford that you were complaining about.
The young goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp, we're hearing, is travelling to Manchester, and it would appear that this is on €21 million, no sell-on, 5-year contract.
Some breaking news. It's our understanding that Liverpool and Crystal Palace have agreed a fee for Mark Guehi.
This could be the best transfer window a club's ever had.
Good drop to Guehi. Guehi with a curler! What a moment!
Does he stay or does he go now? That's the burning question that we've been asking for the past couple of hours. That move to Liverpool is off.
I think Guehi will be devastated. There is a chance that this opportunity might not come for him again. But it just shows you that sometimes being professional, doing things the right way, doesn't get you what you want.
Oliver Glasner, the Crystal Palace manager, has played a direct role in this deal not going through because he threatened to walk away from Palace if his captain was sold without a replacement coming in.
Transfer deadline day. Expect the unexpected.
So Liverpool got their man in the end. They broke the British transfer record for the second time this window, confirming Alexander Isak on deadline day for £125 million. In his unveiling video, the club's TV channel asked Isak, why Liverpool?
I think it's a mixture of what the club is building, but what they're building on top of what the club already is and the history of the club. So I think just me getting the chance to be a part of this, and I want to create history. I want to win trophies. And that's ultimately the biggest motivation for me. And I feel like this is a perfect place for me to grow even further and to take my game and to next level and help the team as well.
I feel like Alexander Isak has gone down in a lot of people's estimations after this transfer window, but Liverpool are certainly building. The deal for Isak takes their summer spending to £415 million. That actually beats Chelsea's 2023 window when everyone's talking about them spending a ridiculous amount of money. But of course, the deal for Mark Guehi did collapse after Crystal Palace's move for Brighton's Igor Julio collapsed as well. He went to West Ham. And we understand manager Oliver Glasner threatened to walk away if Guehi was sold. I'm going to read on here. On Sports Bar, Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara talked about Liverpool missing out on Guehi and how it could turn out to be crucial.
It would have been a great signing for Liverpool.
Yeah,
I think they needed him.
Well, look,
It's question mark whether they needed him more than Isak.
Well, I subscribe to that point of view. I think I've seen enough. Kanate actually played well yesterday, I thought.
He did play well.
Him and Van Dijk, I thought, they're not there. We'll talk about Gyökeres. Jeez. We'll talk about that in a second. But the opening two games, Liverpool looked a little bit vulnerable. If there was an area you looked at and go, if Liverpool want to go and be the very best they can, what area can be fixed or what area can be remedied? It did feel like Kanate, defensive, they need covering there.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I do think Liverpool were probably title favourites before the start of the season, but they have had a brilliant window. They have invested and they have brought in players in positions that they absolutely needed. So they are definitely in pole position. However, I do get what Jason's saying is that this is why I was quite disappointed with the way that Arsenal set up without, say, Abere Eze on Sunday, because I just felt like if you look at that Liverpool defence, it's there for the taking. You had Dominic Szoboszlai playing at right back. And even when Frimpong's there, Frimpong's a wing back or a winger. And Milos Kerkez, I thought it was a good battle against Noni Madueke, but again, he's shown signs that you can maybe get at him as well. So I mean, Liverpool stopping their attack is going to be difficult, especially now with Alexander Isak. But also, what does that mean for Hugo Ekitike? Because he started the season so well. It's going to take Alexander Isak a little bit of time to get match fit because obviously he hasn't been playing at all. Obviously, probably been training on his own, I imagine. So, but if that does happen, when he does come back in, because obviously you don't spend £125 million on someone not to start him. So Alexander Isak is absolutely starting as the number 9. So what does that mean for Hugo Ekitike? Does he start on the left? Does he start on the bench? So yeah, interesting. 03717 223344 Liverpool fans. are you absolutely now firm favourites to win the Premier League? Are you still a little bit disappointed that you didn't get Guehi, or do you look at that transfer window and just think, wow? Because, yeah, £415 million is a lot to spend if you don't win the Premier League, I'm just saying. Elsewhere, on a very busy transfer deadline day, Arsenal completed their loan move with a buy option for Ecuador defender Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen. Chelsea have loaned Nicholas Jackson to Bayern Munich with a buy option of £56.2 million if he plays a certain number of appearances. Chelsea's first fixture in the Champions League is away to Bayern Munich, and Nicholas Jackson can play. I feel like it's written already, isn't it? Man United offloaded Rasmus Højlund to Napoli and Jadon Sancho on loan to Aston Villa. Also, brilliant signing for Villa this, I think, picking up Liverpool's Harvey Elliott on loan after his brilliant under-21 Euros, got player of the tournament, scored in the final. He needed to play more football, and Fulham sealed a club record of £34.6 million for Brazilian winger Kevin from Shakhtar Donetsk. talkSPORT's Danny Murphy would advise players against moving on deadline day, though. Obviously, a couple of big moves happening last night on talkSPORT's Deadline Day special. Murphy spoke from experience.
I remember it, actually, because of the stress of it. The last few days of the window, I moved twice late in the window. One on the very last day.
Yeah.
Which was, it's just stressful.
Right.
If I was advising players now, unless you really have to, I'd say don't do it. Because you can end up going somewhere and taking a while to settle in. You don't know the boys. Of course, it's going to happen because players are in demand and there's domino effects.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I think if I was a player, I'm definitely not a player, but like you'd want to get a deal done as soon as possible, wouldn't you? Moving on to PSR then, we had football finance expert Stefan Borson joining our Deadline Day special. He says PSR rules are a mess, causes clubs to sell players they don't want to sell and are posing a problem for teams trying to break into the top 6 or 7. And clubs like Aston Villa are getting caught in a PSR net.
Well, they've got a very complicated backdrop, which is that they're trying to comply not just with PSR that we know about, but they've actually failed and breached both elements, the key elements of the UEFA rules. The squad cost control, they breached that. They were fined £6 million. And they also breached the football earnings rule. And they're in a settlement agreement in respect of that. And that settlement agreement, they paid £5 million for that. It's a good deal because ultimately it buys them 3 years of sorting out their problem from a UEFA perspective. But it's very complicated. If you're trying to run a P&L in a football club, it's very complicated to work with that matrix of regulations that you've got to work with. So I think what they've done is, obviously they missed out on the Champions League. That is a big hit to them.
Sure.
There's no way around that. And so they've then cut the costs of the players that they loaned in. They've not signed those players on. And they've waited right to the end of the market. I mean, that's in itself, just the timing of it. It's not just the deals they've done, it's the timing. They've waited to literally the last day, and they've done deals that, at best, are loans with obligations next year. Because, again, what they don't want to do is crystallise the cost in this current year.
Yeah, PSR rules are getting more difficult and difficult to meet, aren't they? I'd love to hear from you as well. Obviously, PSR have, it's affected everyone's clubs, but I suppose Villa are one of the ones that have been, it feels like they've been affected the most. But you don't want to sell your academy players. They've had to sell Jacob Ramsey to Newcastle, probably didn't want to do that. Chelsea are fine with PSR, but they've had to sell Mason Mount for pure profit, had to sell Conor Gallagher for pure profit. Wanted to sell Travis Chalobah because it's pure profit. So yeah, get in touch, 03717 223344. How are you feeling about PSR? Are you annoyed that basically you have to sell your academy players because that's one of the main ways around it? Get in touch. Right, up next, I'll be joined by Nick Ellaby for a look at the back pages. Olivia Buzaglo, and you are listening to Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. It's Jeff Stelling on Breakfast this Tuesday morning alongside Ali McCoy. So remember, it's the day after, the night before, the day after transfer deadline day. You can text at 81089 or give us a call on 03717 223344. Are you happy with the business that your club has done this window? Are you in trouble going into the season? Let me know. Right, here are some of your sporting headlines this Monday morning. European captain Luke Donald admits trying to win the Ryder Cup on American soil is a hugely difficult task as he goes with experience. There's only one change to the victorious side in Rome 2 years ago, with Rasmus Højgaard replacing his twin brother Nikolai. Here's Luke Donald.
I'm very aware that 3 of the last 4 away were losing for us, losing sides. So that has been a big part of my preparation. It's been very different to what some of the thought processes that went into the captaincy for Rome. This is a different challenge, and it requires different strategies because of that.
This year's Ryder Cup is at New York's Bethpage Black at the end of the month. Naomi Osaka came out on top in the battle between former champions at the US Open. She beat Coco Gauff in straight sets to reach the quarterfinals in New York. And Sorba Thomas has revealed how Craig Bellamy rescued his Wales career by recognising them as very similar people and gaining his trust. The Stoke winger fell out of favour under previous boss Rob Page, but Bellamy named Thomas in his first lineup against Turkey last September, and he's been one of Wales' standout players over the last 12 months.
I've had a lot of down times. Obviously, going to France was massive for me to play in a position which I believe is my favourite and my best position, and the gaffer believing in me here, giving me the opportunity to go and express myself and to show what I can do. It's a massive bonus for me.
For more info on all of these stories, you can visit talksport.com. Right. Whilst Nick gets his headphones ready, it's time to get into the back page. Are you here? Are you ready, Nick?
Found the right slot. Yeah, we're in.
Right, back pages. I mean, I covered sort of the football in the back pages. Absolutely. We're not gonna bore you with any more of that because it's all over them. What else is there, Nick?
Well, we had obviously the Ryder Cup captain, the European Ryder Cup captain's picks yesterday. Luke Donald, his 6 picks, and he's gone with experience. Some good analysis from Rick Broadbent in the back of the Times, talking about, the European team. You were saying you really like the Ryder Cup.
I love the Ryder. Like, I'm not someone that will sit and just watch, similar to, I watch football. If there's a football match on, I will watch it regardless, right? But I don't have that same love for golf. But there's something about the Ryder Cup. I think it's like the team aspect. And I watched the one in 2023 and absolutely loved it. I did watch the Masters actually, that Rory won. But I just love. There's something special about the Ryder Cup.
The big events.
I think, yeah.
Exactly. The
Casual.
drama, that's what we like. And actually, we don't do very much as Europe, so I think it's quite nice to have a thing that we do as Europe together. And
in America's hard though.
Well, and that's what you need. A bit of external pressure always brings people together. So they're expecting at Bethpage Black in New York really boisterous, potentially abusive scenes from the fans there. But they're not talking about that. They're actually talking about how great an atmosphere it's going to be. I think it seems like Luke Donald's going on some sort of charm offensive. Some of the other players as well talking about, how exciting this experience will be, rather than necessarily worried about people transgressing, American fans overstepping the mark, shouting stuff when they're on the tees and everything else. But we've got the least changed European team in history. As you said in the top there, Rasmus Højgaard coming in for his brother. But apart from that, he's the only rookie. And Luke Donald going for experience with his picks: Fitzpatrick, Aberg, Lowry, Straker, Hovland and John Rahm. And they're going to be 3 live players as well. We've 2 of them on the European side, Tyrrell Hatton and John Rahm. So, add a bit of extra spice to the competition because they're still appealing against those fines from the European Tour whilst representing Europe as well. But, best of luck to the boys. It starts on the 26th of September, that Friday at the end of the month, and obviously 3-day event. And, hasn't been an away win for a long, long time. So hoping the boys can get it done.
2012 was the last time there was an away win. What else, Nick?
Well, my tribute to Joe Bugner, the Hungarian-born UK heavyweight who went 12 rounds with Muhammad Ali twice.
How do you do that?
Unbelievable 12 rounds as well with Joe Frazier twice, and he won as well the British and Commonwealth titles, beating Henry Cooper, actually retired Henry Cooper, Joe Bugner. So, you know, some British fans never really forgave him for that because it was quite a controversial points decision, but an incredible character. And a guy who Muhammad Ali said marked out to be a future heavyweight champion, and he did manage to pick up those I think the IBF title in the end. So, you know, a lot of tributes from the boxing world. Frank Bruno as well, who fought against Joe Bugner in 1987. You know, just talking about what a great guy he was, as well as a serious competitor. And the boxing world all coming out and paying tribute to Joe Bugner, who died at the age of 75 and unfortunately suffering from dementia. So, you know, wasn't able to remember some of his great fights, but a happier story in the I paper is looking at Sonny Baker making his England cricket debut today. Young fast bowler, and actually potentially tipped as an Ashes bolter. So this is he's only 22 years old. He's got serious pace. He's a really interesting guy, Sonny Baker. When you hear him in interviews, he's very, very effusive. He keeps these notebooks that he writes down every player he bowls to. And he's going to have Steve Smith. He got Steve Smith out in the 100 this summer, so he's going to have some pages on Steve Smith there. And you know, potentially this winter, we've just, we could see him making his way into that Ashes squad. What's going to happen is the Lions team, the second team, is going to be out in Australia playing alongside the men's team. So if Sonny Baker doesn't make the actual squad, he'll be there anyway. We know what the England batting lineup is going to look like, but you've got also, Wood and Archer, Carson, Atkinson leading the attack. Wokes, possibly Ollie Stone, who's coming back from injury. Ben Stokes bowling as well. But, you know, I expect there's going to be injuries. It's going to be a tough old tour. We could well see Sonny Baker making a late appearance into that Ashes squad at the end of the winter. But he's making his debut against South Africa in the first one-day international today. That starts at 1 o'clock. And yeah, he's confirmed. So it should be a good summer end to the summer for Sonny Baker. Potentially a really successful winter as well. But one to watch for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Nick. That was a look at today's back pages. This is Early Breakfast on talkSPORT. Up next, we will discuss how big of a signing Alexander Isak is for Liverpool, and we'll hear from Manu Petit on which manager he thinks will be sacked in this international break.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know, here's the tale. Tennis has its roots in 12th century France when people used to make balls from all sorts. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur and even human hair. Uniformity was found centuries later when people started making balls out of something called vulcanized rubber, invented in the US. But the balls kept on breaking, so a British lawyer, who also loved tennis, suggested they put a flannel covering on the outside, and thus the tennis ball as we know it was born. One problem, it was either white or black. And when the controller of BBC Two, Sir David Attenborough, decided Wimbledon would be shown in colour on the BBC in 1967, no one could actually see the balls on telly. So the International Tennis Federation went away and created a new colour called Optic Yellow, which would show up without the need for a 4K LED display. Not that anyone had that in the 1960s, of course. Since then, all tennis balls have been covered in that material and have their trademark colour for that exact reason. Amateur tennis players and dogs worldwide are forever grateful. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning to you. This is the Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux, the cover you need at a price you'll love with Watband's Insurer of the Year 2021. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. I'm Olivia Buzaglo. I'm with you until 6 a.m. Then you're in the much safer hands of the legends Jeff Stelling and Super Ali McCoist for talkSPORT Breakfast. We're talking about an unbelievable record-breaking Premier League transfer window, over £3 billion spent with Liverpool breaking the British record, getting Alexander Isak over the line for £125 million on deadline. Now that is after spending 115 on Florian Wirtz. But talkSPORT's Danny Murphy calls Isak a statement signing from the champions.
He's as close to the complete package that you want in a centre forward. Great link up, good feet, can run in behind, good size. Already got the Premier League experience. People can talk about whether anybody's worth the money that's being paid these days. But yeah, if you were to choose a centre forward looking around Europe, he'd be at the top of most people's list. So I think Liverpool fans will be ecstatic, excited. The only disappointment is the saga around it. It's not helped anyone. It's not helped the player in terms of what he's obviously been through. Newcastle, it's not helped them having to do business late and try and get replacements in and drag on for them. It's not helped Liverpool, because when you get a new player in of such quality, you want him to have some weeks with the lads, building up relationships, getting his fitness up and starting the season with them. But we know that's not the way it works. Ultimately, Liverpool have sent out a statement getting Isak.
Yeah, they definitely have. And don't forget, you can watch the show as well, and nearly all the talkSPORT shows on your smart TV and on YouTube. We mentioned a little bit earlier then about PSR rules, and I suppose the question is, do they work, do they not? Darren, the Spurs fan, has called in. Morning, Darren.
Morning.
Talk to me then about the PSR rules. What are your opinions on it generally?
My opinions on it generally doesn't work properly because the clubs spend too much on wages, and that's where it doesn't work. Because if you look at Spurs, they only spend 40% of their turnover on their wages. So they have a much more room when it comes to PSR.
Yeah.
So they only pay the best player in their team the top money, whereas a lot of clubs pay a lot more money to lesser players. And that's where they fail, because they end up having less money available. And that's why they have to sell youngsters.
So do you think Darren, it's more the club's fault that they're not then being a little bit more wise with the way that they operate and the wages they give clubs then, rather than just like the PSR rules as a whole that sort of everyone has to go by?
I do, because I think if you look at Liverpool, they didn't buy big for about 2 or 3 seasons, and now they've all of a sudden spent money. So they've saved that money. But also they sell as well. Yeah. Whereas you look at clubs like, say, Forest, and when they've got in PSR trouble, it's because they basically increased their wages coming up from the Championship, and they've not got the gap. Even if you come up from the Championship, I think you should get the same amount that you're allowed to spend as the clubs that have been there before, whereas you don't. That's where I think PSR fails, and I just think some of the whole point of PSR was to bring down the wages. Yeah. It hasn't worked.
Yeah, you are right. Darren, thank you so much. I think it's also interesting. I just think the gap between like the big six and the rest of the clubs is so big. And I just think the PSR rules make it so difficult for any of those clubs to try and close that gap. But thank you, Darren, for getting in touch this morning. Some of the headlines you're waking up to this Tuesday. Dele Alli is a free agent after leaving Italian side Como. His contract has been cancelled after a mutual agreement. The former England midfielder wants to find regular first-team football. God, that's really sad, isn't it? Sort of Dele Alli's career. When you think about how good he was at Spurs. Sonny Baker will make his England cricket debut at Headingley this afternoon in the first one-day international against South Africa. Fellow fast bowler Bryden Cast also starts, whilst Jofra Archer comes in for his first international in the format since the Champions Trophy back in March. The 3-match series is followed by 3 T20s later in the month. Brentford defender Aaron Hickey is eager to hit the ground running after rejoining the Scotland squad following a lengthy spell on the sidelines. The 23-year-old has battled through nearly 2 years of recovery from a persistent hamstring injury that required 2 separate surgeries. Hickey admits it was tough watching his teammates compete at the Euros last summer, but he wants to channel that frustration into helping Scotland qualify for the World Cup.
I think it's every boy's dream to go to the World Cup, so that's you aim for the high, and to think you've been out for a long period and you've got to make up for this time. So I think for me, I'm just taking it day by day, and I'm thankful to be here and take every day in my stride.
Yeah, get in touch with me this morning at 81089 on the text 03717 223344. Obviously, it's the day after the night before, transfer deadline day. Mark Guehi didn't get his move, but should he have thrown his toys out of the pram to get that big move to Liverpool? When you look at what Alexander Isak did, what Yoann Wissa did, they both got their big move because I feel like the clubs felt like they were in a position where there was no other option. I feel like it sets a dangerous precedent. I said it at the top of the show. I'm going to say it again. I really, really hope that this doesn't, because if we're saying how you should behave when you're going to leave a club or you think you could get a move, it is how Mark Guehi has behaved. And that's why I'm really gutted for him, because he didn't get his big move, but it's not Palace's fault at all. It's not Palace's fault. And Mark Guehi will have no issues playing for Palace for the rest of the season. But it's just a little bit, gutting when he did his medical. He was waiting and completed it. And just for the last second. But let me know what you think on if you think players now are going to act like this to try and force through a move because it leaves the clubs that they're at with no other option. For more on all the day's biggest stories, you can visit our website, talksport.com. Right, Emmanuel Petit predicted that Ruben Amorim could be sacked in this international window. Man United failed to beat Arsenal or Fulham in the opening 2 league games before being knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Grimsby Town. After saying sometimes he wants to leave and sometimes he wants to stay at Man United for 20 years, former Arsenal and Chelsea midfielder Manu Petit is worried about Amorim's mental health.
Then he said something bad, he said something good. I'm happy, but I'm not happy. I want to be with my player, but I want to kill them. I mean, he needs help, and I feel pity for him sometimes because he tried to do his best, and his body language, his press conference. Again, I appreciate his honesty, but this guy, I think, I have the feeling that he's alone, by himself, and no one's helping him. And
are you serious about this? He needs a therapy session.
I mean, this guy's in depression.
There's interesting comments there about Amorim spending too much time by himself. Obviously, still very young, still a huge amount of pressure. This is Manchester United, but he would have known that going in. He would have absolutely known that. he's now got the step up, and we've got to see an improvement in this Manchester United side. Manu Petit also sounded off about Arsenal under Mikel Arteta.
Okay, you brought some players, important players, but I don't want to see, because Mikel is Spanish, I don't want him to go step by step even further, to the like of what Enrique has done, a few years ago with the national team, in Spain, or even Guardiola sometimes when he was trying to do with City, it was quite bored to watch. And I just want them, to don't forget that if you want to win games, you have to go and kill them.
Yeah, interesting about Mikel Arteta. And obviously, it does feel like they've moulded a little bit into Pep Guardiola, or attempted to, in Manchester City. And Manu Petit is not a fan of how Alexander Isak's gone about getting his move to Liverpool. I'm not sure anyone is a fan of that. But he says with Isak, Liverpool are now firm favourites to go back-to-back.
Still, I think they are not at the best level, from the start of the season, and they won the 3 games in a row. So, I mean, it looks like, just like the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. I got this feeling, yesterday I was thinking, okay, they were struggling the first half against Arsenal. They were not the best team on the pitch. But in the second half, they did anything they could, to win that game. And magic moment, But at the end, they are not at the best level, and they still won the game.
Yeah.
So with Isak, it's like the message is sent to all the opponents,
I'm a bit sad about this whole Alexander Isak situation. White and Jordan are back from 10 a.m. I'm sure they'll be talking all about what's happened. Alexander Isak finally being confirmed. Mark Guehi missing out. I love that Newcastle fans love the way that, like, they don't care that Jan Wisser acted like a certain way before he joined them, but they really don't like the way Alexander Isak. I know they are different situations, and Wisser was training with the team. I don't think Alexander Isak was. And also Newcastle's goodbye was just like, Alexander Isak has moved to Liverpool on a British record fee, and that was it. But I feel like Alexander Isak has brought that on himself, to be perfectly honest. Right, it's time now for the front pages with Nick.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front pages first on the early sports breakfast. talkSPORT.
Right.
Hello.
Beer,
We're on
ice.
Talking about behaviour
Talk to
which
me.
is beyond the pale. Republicans have... did I say Republicans? Sorry, publicans. Not getting political in this front page.
No, we're definitely.
Publicans have criticised Gen Z drinkers over the new trend that sees them put ice in their beers. This is in the Telegraph. New figures show 28% of pub goers aged 18 to 35, that's not me anymore.
It's not me either.
Put ice in their beers during the summer months.
I have never ever been to a pub. I mean, not that I look around and see and
Sure.
look at other people's beers, but I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know, I know obviously you put ice in all the other drinks, but what?
It isn't a thing.
Then why is it now a thing?
Well, I guess
Why are
people
people
just
being
like
weird?
really cold stuff. Simon Garbett, landlord from the Turf Cutters Arms near Lymington in Hampshire, my neck of the woods, said younger drinkers have been putting ice in their ciders, lagers and sometimes IPAs.
I mean, you say that as if I should know, is IPA beer's
IPA
not
is
my thing.
An ale,
Oh,
like a darker ale.
See, I would have, if I had like a cider,
Yeah.
I would put ice in it.
Yeah, but
like a fruity cider though. I'm talking like a Copperberg or something.
That was a massive thing in the early 2000s. It was part of promotion to sell more. It was like Magners and Bulmers back
Yeah.
then. Other ciders are available, of course. But putting ice in lager, it's just it's not good for it. And it ruins it.
I agree.
But on this, how was your time in Greece, by the way? Didn't you go to Greece?
I went to Crete and it
Right.
was unbelievable.
Was the place you were staying as good as the photos online?
Yes. Did I make it?
Holidays a
Aesthetic-
letdown.
The hotel was very aesthetically pleasing.
Okay, nice.
Like a rooftop pool, all like I can't describe it. It's like straw everywhere and like egg chairs and like it was lovely. But we didn't actually spend a lot of time. We did spend time there, but like I think Crete's the sort of place you go out and explore. So we did that. We went on a couple of excursions. The food, we didn't have a bad meal once. I think I ate prawns every day.
Wow.
Seafood there.
Lucky
It's
you,
amazing.
because more than half of holidaymakers, and says the Daily Star, said the place they went to didn't look as good as in online photos. A quarter said their destination was less picturesque. This is holiday firm Holiday Extra has carried out the research. Says travellers today are savvier than ever, but they're also more exposed to an endless stream of polished content.
Well, yeah, but like, are they saying that when they go to a hotel, it doesn't look as nice as the pictures? Obviously.
I think Airbnbs is a big one, isn't it?
Obviously hotels and stuff will put the best pictures, and it's like when you buy a house or you go looking for houses, and all the pictures, the rooms look amazingly big, and you get there and they're tiny.
The thing about taking the
really
photo
far
right
back.
in the
That's
corner.
exactly it. I feel like hotels, that's just always how it is. They always look nicer in pictures.
We had a bit of an Airbnb nightmare this summer. The guy tried to fine us for making a mess of the bathroom, but that wasn't us. We had this whole scandal. It was a bit tricky.
Were you okay?
It's fine.
Yeah.
But my wife has now got a very bad review on her Airbnb profile.
Oh no!
I don't feel like it's my fault.
What did you do, Nick?
No, it wasn't really. I could have done a bit more washing up before we left, but anyway, that's another story. We left in a massive hurry. But one tip I will have: if you're getting Airbnb places, take photos when you get in there. Take a load of photos as soon as you come in, and then if they try and allege any damage, it is good. Wow.
Maybe I should use it more. Actually, that's a lot. We're staying in a tree house in October. Me and a few of my friends.
Wow.
It's like got a hot tub.
Where?
I don't actually know where it is. It was, I don't know, one of the girls booked it, but I'm
Sounds
very
great.
excited.
Lovely.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Cheers.
As always, you are listening to Early Sports Breakfast with me, Olivia Buzaglo. Up next, we are talking Manchester City. We are all waiting for one of the world's best goalkeepers, Gianluigi Donnarumma, to be announced as a Manchester City player. person in the world that hasn't been to see Oasis. And it makes me really sad. I had to turn down tickets to work at Usyk de Bois. I'm glad I did, by the way, because it was an amazing fight, but this just makes me sad. I'm Olivia Buzaglo. This is the Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Our biggest competition to date is now live, and we're giving you the chance to win Oasis tickets plus a whopping 25 grand. There'll be 2 winners, 2 not 1. You'll win a pair of Oasis tickets when they return to Wembley on the 27th of September. If anyone knows of any tickets going, can you let me know, please? Plus, that's not all. Alongside the tickets, they're giving you the chance to win a whopping 25 grand. All the details and how to enter this competition, listen up right now.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 treble38. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Yes, that is how you win Oasis tickets and 25 grand. Right, we had Darren on the line earlier. He was talking about PSR rules and he thinks the clubs are to blame for spending too much money on wages. We've got Liam on the line now, who's a Newcastle fan, who wants to talk about the PSR rules. But, Liam, I have to start with Alexander Isak. Now that he's left Newcastle, gone to Liverpool, how are you feeling about his antics and everything that's gone on?
Morning, Olivia. To be honest with you, with regards to Isak, I think it's just good riddance to him. The way he's behaved was shocking. I know you just touched on briefly before the break there about Johan Wissa and how he behaved, and you said that it's slightly different. But Newcastle fans, but we don't condone Wissa's behaviour either. I mean, obviously he's wearing a black and white shirt now. We'll support him. But to put the two into context is slightly different. Yeah. But as I say, good riddance to Isak. I think it was evident from the club statement how much we believe he's sort of betrayed the club, betrayed Eddie Howe, betrayed the fans. Let's not forget this is a centre forward who scored 7 goals the season before he signed for Newcastle. Had quite a poor injury record, and we've helped make him what he is. Yes, through hard work, and he's clearly a great player. However, you can't go on like that. You can't down tools. You can't refuse to train. And you can't behave like that towards a club. I mean, if I didn't turn up for work and refused to go, I would get sacked. Ultimately, it stinks the way he's behaved.
I agree. I mean, I saw in his Liverpool interview, saying, I can't wait to get back to work. And it's like, well, yeah, but you should have been at work a month ago. You should have been helping Newcastle, which I know we talk about Mark Guehi and Eze and stuff, and that's how they behaved. Do you think that we're going to get a message to the fans from Alexander Isak? Because so far it's nothing. It's just all Liverpool talk. Do you think that Newcastle fans deserve that?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, because I think there's been a lot of anger towards Alex. And ultimately that's where it's at, and I think you'd probably just want to put it to bed and crack on with Liverpool. But let's hope for Liverpool fans' sake, Barcelona, Real Madrid don't come in from him in a couple of years, because he strikes us as the type of, and I'm not just saying this because he's left, I have said it previously over the last sort of 12, 18 months, he doesn't strike us as your type of Joe Linton or your Bruno, who were bought into the club and bought into everything. And I do feel that should the bigger club, the Real Madrid or Barcelona, come in, do a similar thing to them.
Yeah, he hasn't covered himself in glory, has he, this transfer window? Liam, you wanted to talk about PSR. Darren earlier said about, how it's, the club's responsibility and they shouldn't be spending too much on wages. Do you feel like the PSR rules have held Newcastle back?
100%, there's no doubt about it. They were brought in the week after or so, after the takeover by the Saudis. And it's the profit and sustainability rules. I mean, can somebody tell me how Man United could be £750 million in debt, laying off dinner ladies, and not be sustainable? It absolutely stinks. It's anti-competition. And now it's impacting the likes of Villa and Nottingham Forest, and you'll probably find that the clubs coming up from the championships, you like see Burnley, who've got owners who are willing to spend. And I mean, Sunderland there, to be fair to them, they've went on and spent some money. But ultimately, what it's going to do is it's going to hold the teams back who have got wealthy owners that are wanting to spend. And I think ultimately what it will do is it'll damage the Premier League as a brand, because you're going to keep the status quo, the big six there, keep them happy, and it'll ruin what is a fantastic product.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Liam, thank you very much for the call this morning. Right, one more deal we're waiting for confirmation on is Gianluigi Donnarumma to City. He's expected to join Pep Guardiola's side on a 5-year contract. Danny Murphy told us Man City will really miss Ederson, though.
They got to witness the greatest footballing goalkeeper that's ever lived.
Wow. Really?
The best passer from a goalkeeping position we've ever seen by a mile. Nobody's even close to him. And I think him not playing so much over the last 18 months has been one of the reasons City aren't as dominant in games and in possession, because he sees passes that most midfielders can't even see half the time. He's unbelievable technically. Now, he did have some City fans who watched every game, unlike me, will say that certain areas of his goalkeeping digressed, maybe, hence the fact he wasn't chosen as often. But I can see, I watch City play now, and the difference with him not being there is huge.
Yes, will we see Gianluigi Donnarumma? What a brilliant signing that would be. And can Chelsea get close to Liverpool and Arsenal this season? Well, selling players has been their forte this window, especially. They've got over £300 million in sales. Football finance expert Stefan Borson told us Chelsea's finances are looking pretty healthy.
85 million quid before costs and bonuses. So, makes a big difference, especially in a season where they had no front of shirt sponsor. They still don't have that, of course, and that is a big property that's empty, probably worth about 50 million quid, and it's still vacant. They also have lost the sleeve sponsor. So they've got some holes in the profit and loss account, but of course they've got so many players that they can deal with quite a few of the issues. They've dealt with the PSR issue, we know about that. They've dealt with that with a massive sale of the women's team, massive sale of a hotel, all the good things that we like to be talking about. So that's dealt with. They've dealt with the UEFA issues because they did a settlement agreement similar to Aston Villa's over a 4-year period, not a 3-year period, paid a small fine. They got some issues with squad cost control as well, but it's probably not as big a deal as Aston Villa or maybe even some of the other teams, again, because they've sold quite a few players.
Right, you've been listening to Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Up next is talkSPORT Breakfast with Jess Stelling and Super Ali McCoy. Roy Hodgson is on the show and comedian. It says Palace fan Andrew Mensah. He is not a Palace fan now. He is an Arsenal fan because he just follows wherever his cousin Abere Eze goes. It's talkSPORT Breakfast up next.